Welcome to your PMA Pro membership, your gateway to continued professional product marketing development. Whether you're new to the industry or an experienced practitioner, we've covered all bases with our variety of specialist content, including on-demand presentations, templates, exclusive content, mentors, toolkits, learning paths, and more. So let's take a look at exactly what could be all yours as a pro member. Starting with exclusive articles, jam-packed with in-depth insights from experts at companies like Google, LinkedIn, HubSpot, and Drift. And we add new pieces to your dashboard every single week. Your template hub is packed with 50 plus vetted and tested templates and frameworks designed to streamline fundamental processes. Used by companies such as Slack, Microsoft, Twitter, and TikTok, rest assured, you and your team will be equipped with the best materials to enhance your practice. And better yet, we add new templates into your plan every month. Here at PMA, we have a busy event schedule year-round. And as a pro member, you'll get access to every presentation on demand to enjoy whenever and wherever you please. Better yet, you won't have to pay a cent to attend our virtual festivals and summits. The discounts don't stop there either. As a pro member, you'll also get 10% off our suite of certification programs. After a structured learning experience, then our product marketing learning paths and toolkits are for you. Whether you've got a positioning overhaul on the horizon, want to upskill in sales enablement, or plan for next quarter's product launch, each toolkit and path features presentations, templates, and guides that'll help you hit the ground running and continue your professional development furthermore. Moving on to our peer councils. They're the perfect platform for live, virtual interaction, and the monthly gatherings allow you to connect with an intimate pod of product marketing leaders to strategize and collaborate. And last but not least is our mentor program. Whether you want to be a mentor, mentee, or both, you can accelerate your personal and professional growth by learning from product marketing heavyweights all over the world. So, with product marketing teams at globally recognized brands such as IBM, TikTok, Uber, and Amazon reaping the benefits of the stellar content on offer, why shouldn't you? Sign up for your PMM Pro membership and access a never-ending flow of tried, tested, and recommended tactics, learn from the leading lights in the industry, fast-track your professional development, and accelerate your career trajectory.
Hi folks, thank you so much for coming to my talk on delighting customers at scale. I'm really thankful that the Product Marketing Alliance, let me come here and have this conversation with y'all because this is the topic that really got me excited about customer marketing in the first place. My name is Patrick Haley. I am a customer marketing manager at a company called Quorum in Washington, D.C. We make software for public affairs professionals. Before I became a customer marketing manager, I was a customer success manager, where I was creating delightful experiences one-on-one with each of my customers. But I really wanted to do that at a bigger scale. And so I became a customer marketing manager where I was able to take what I learned as a customer success manager and spread it across our entire user base to create one beautiful, delightful customer journey. Today, my goals are to share my customer marketing framework, show my formula for delight, which is just kind of like a pretentious way of saying these are the things I look for whenever I'm trying to create a delightful experience. These are the kind of tests that I run. And then lastly, I'm going to give you a bunch of tactics to make delightful experiences. So I hope that you come out of this with a few things that you want to bring up at your next team meeting or things that you want to implement for your user base as well. And this is really important because as the customer marketing manager, you're the role model for the rest of your team when it comes to how to interface with your clients. If you're creating a delightful experience for your whole customer base, one, that gives everybody else on your team the agency to create delightful experiences, whether they're on the support team, the success team, or the accounting team, ways to really go out of their way to delight your users. And two is that sets the expectation for everybody else in your team that actually delighting your users is the baseline expectation. So this is my customer marketing framework. One is advocacy. Advocacy to me is how do I turn my users into loyal brand advocates through referrals, references, participating in customer stories for social proof. Two is content, which is what is all the stuff that I'm pushing to my users. Three is sentiment. How am I gathering feedback from my users, to inform our product decisions and our marketing decisions? Four is engagement. How am I creating relationships with all of our users? And five is expansion. How am I getting them to want more of what we have to offer? So what do I mean by delight? When I think of delight, I think of this particular GIF from the show, The Office. It's that, turn to the camera moment. To me, delight means conscious joy or satisfaction. So not only are you creating a delightful experience for your users, but they're aware of it and that they know that you are the one that caused the joy and caused their happiness, and so that they're going to have better allegiances with your brand and they're going to want to stay with you more often. So this is my delight score. It is quality plus specificity plus ease minus expectation is how you get this delight score. Now, to illustrate this, I'm going to use a quick example of a birthday gift that you're going to give your partner. So first is quality. Whatever you get them, you want it to be good, right? It's pretty obvious. This is oftentimes where we stop, which is saying like, oh, hey, this is a good thing. I created a good thing. Why aren't you happy with this good thing I made? But let's look at the other ones as well. Two is specificity. So if I were to get the top of the line iPod or a type of line iPad, and I gave that to my great grandmother who doesn't know how to use a computer, she's not going to be very delighted by that gift. Now I could say, hey, this is the top of the line iPad. Why don't you like this? They're still not going to be delighted by it. Number three is ease. Am I making it easy to participate? Am I making it easy for them, to receive this gift? So for example, I'm not going to get my partner a 15-foot blow-up dinosaur. Well, I think that might be really delightful. They have no place to put a 15-foot blow-up dinosaur. That'd really be a burden for them. And then lastly is expectations. What are they used to getting for their birthday? I should probably try to meet those or exceed those expectations. So hopefully if you've integrated quality, specificity, ease, managed expectations, you would give them a really delightful birthday present. So the first thing I want to talk about is quality. And I'm going to share a bunch of the tactics that I've used to create really quality products for my users and my customer base. I think about this quote a lot from Anne Hanley, which is when we create something, we think, will our customers thank us for this? Oftentimes as marketers, we're really excited about engagement and getting eyes on the screen, but eyes aren't enough. We want them to really get something out of our content. So what is the second order of it? We're not giving them a case study. We're not giving them a how-to video. We're giving them a new solution or something. It's the quote of, we're not giving them a drill, we're giving them a hole. So think to yourself, is there demand for what you're offering? So here are a few different things that I use to make sure that there's demand for the thing that I'm creating and to make sure that they would thank us for it and make sure that whatever I'm giving them, whether it's a referral program, whether if it's a new piece of content, that it's really high quality. First is I gather ideas from my users. Using my communities and things like that, I've gathered ideas for content from my users to make sure that it's something that they really want. So chances are that they know what they want, better than I do. So if they offer something, oftentimes I'll create it or work with them to, shape the content so it really fits our audience. 2 is whenever we get feedback, make sure that we're following up with it to show, this is what we did in the product with it, or this is what I do as a customer marketing manager with your feedback. It doesn't always have to be the finished result either. You can say, hey, I mentioned your comment, during this meeting today, and it seemed to really go far with the product team. So even if we're not, able to show them the results in the product right away, be sure to follow up with the things that you've done with their feedback as well. You can also offer rewards for their feedback additionally to really show that getting feedback really means something to you. So you can offer rewards such as, company swag, opportunities for engaging with, your executives as well, or, money goes a long way too. But what you're offering doesn't always have to be tied to money. Let me show you an example of one of our most successful swag items. Meet my dog, Gretel. No, she is not the swag item. The bandana that she's wearing is the swag item, which is Vice President of Puppy Affairs. Now, this bandana cost us about $2 to make a piece, and it's one of our most requested swag items because, it really matches their identity. It's a high quality item and it's nice and stretchy and stuff like that, but it has a quote on it that our users, really identify with and that they really cherish. And so we've gotten a lot of people sending pictures of their dogs wearing these bandanas, really excited on social media as well. And so it doesn't have to cost a lot of money. Actually, the rule that I've found is that I would much rather get a higher price or a higher quality, less expensive item than a cheaper, higher price item, if that makes sense. So I'd rather give them the best pen or the best dog bandana that I put a lot of thought into versus, a cheap jacket or, a cheap, really tech toy or anything like that. So by using those tips, you can create a really quality item or create a really quality piece for your customers. Number 2 is specificity. Would my audience say, ooh, I was looking for that? Or would somebody send it to them? I segment my users to make sure that everything that they get is relevant to them, so they want to keep coming back and seeing my content and stuff like that as well. So in order to do this, one is I answer the questions the audience is asking, one in the Help Center and in Google Search. So you can use Google Search Trends to discover what are people in your industry looking for with your content, and then I can directly answer that in a webinar or a roundtable. Speaking of roundtables, I host frequent roundtables with my users to hear what they're thinking and what questions that they have related to our market. Once we've done that and I've gathered feedback from other folks as well, we're able to put together some really fine-tuned pieces of content that are, really applicable to that specific audience. It's answering their direct questions. And then 3, I use our Help Center and our support queries to see what are the things that our audience has the most questions about or needs the most help with. And then I create content based on that. And so these are the ways that I've created content that's really specific to our users and stuff that they are really asking for and that they really want. 2 is I use usage data to ask about specific workflows to gather feedback. So rather than just asking all of our users like, hey, how satisfied are you? Now, granted, we do that. We have an NPS and we have a customer satisfaction score. But in order to get more fine-tuned feedback, I'll reach out to my users who've done specific things in our product to make sure that they're happy with the workflow and stuff like that. Or after they've, engaged with one of our workshops or webinars, we'll send them follow-up after that. Additionally, kind of going off of that, is whenever we're trying to gather a customer story or a case study, or we want them to speak at our events, one, you always have to show why they're a great fit to speak. It's great not just to say like, hey, we need more case studies. Would you like to be in a case study? But rather say, hey, we're looking for folks in this, specific industry to talk about this specific thing. You are fantastic at that. We would really want you to be the one to do that. Now that extends far beyond just case studies and participating in your content. If you're asking for feedback, you want to say, hey, you've done X, Y, Z, so we would love to hear what your thoughts are. Or if you want them to participate in a webinar or attend stuff or listen to content, whatever it is, you should be using your attributes that you know about your users and reiterate that to them to say, hey, you work in this industry, so I think this would be really important for you. These are things, using mail merge techniques and placeholders and stuff like that you can create these really personalized messages for all of your users. And send just one big email for them to make them feel like you're sending it just to them. And then lastly, use identity. Identity is a tool for you. Let me show you an example. We have a user group and Quorum called the Quorum Wonks. Now, if you've never heard the term wonk before, you're not alone. I wasn't super familiar with this word either before I came to Quorum. So wonk means it's kind of like a nerd. It's like a policy nerd. Like I said, we work in like the public affairs industry. And so public policy is a big part of that. And so our users kept referring to themselves as wonks or policy wonks or political wonks and stuff like that. And so we looked at the market research and found actually a lot of folks identify with this term called a wonk. And so we named our user group after wonks, and we saw a massive flood of users want to join our user group because one, this showed, hey, I can now call myself a wonk because I'm part of the user group called the Wonks. And two, oh no, I already know I'm a wonk. I'm going to join the Quorum Wonks there. So think about, what are your users calling themselves? What are the identities that they identify with? And try to shape your brand around that, or shape whatever initiatives you have around that identity. The next thing I want to talk to you about is ease. Are you making it easy for folks to participate in whatever campaign or program that you're running? Additionally, are you being inclusive of folks who have different abilities or people who are willing to do different things? For example, someone who has a hard time seeing or hard time hearing won't be able to get as much out of your case studies or webinars as someone who has, perfect sight or perfect hearing. Additionally, folks may not, be willing to sit down with, a product manager because, well, they're shy or they don't really like talking to people. And so make sure that you are offering numerous ways for folks to participate in your campaigns to make sure that you're attracting everyone. So here are a few different ways that I do that. One is I manage the number of logins. So, for example, we decided to host our community on LinkedIn because that's where our community is, or that's where all of our users are. And so they were able to grow their network using our LinkedIn community, which one, that they loved. And two, they told us they didn't want to have to log into a new platform. And so we've seen a lot of success out of our community on LinkedIn because that's where people were, and we were able to manage the number of logins that they had in order to participate. Be proactive and prescriptive on ways they can get involved. Now, it's more helpful to say, refer a friend by going to XYZ website versus just saying refer a friend. There's a bunch of different ways that you can get involved, but make sure that you can direct them specifically how to do that. It's a lot more easy if you're being prescriptive to participate than if you're just being vague. Additionally, use forms and automation to make sure that you're collecting the information that's important to them or important to you. So it's not just throw stuff out in the wind to see what would be helpful, that your users feel like they're being really productive and being specifically helpful for what you want. Make sure that your content is on demand in addition to live and in person. Now, I think that in-person conversations and live events are really impactful, but one, they're not for everybody. Not everybody has the time to, take a meeting or, participate in a webinar. They might want to just, watch it later on at like 2x speed. So make sure that you're being inclusive of those folks as well so they can also participate. Offers numerous ways to get feedback and be proactive. Reach out to your customers to ask for feedback, not just have a landing page that they might click on in your platform. And then lastly, qualify through content to avoid wasting their time. Now, I used to have a group of customers that opted in to being invited or getting a calendar invite for every single workshop or webinar that we hosted. Now, after the 5th or 6th workshop, they stopped attending. And I was really wondering why. And so I reached out to a few of them, and they all said, after the first one, I realized I wasn't getting anything out of these workshops, so I stopped attending. Now, that first workshop was on a very niche subject matter that was only for a particular segment of our users. And so they attended that and realized it wasn't worth their time to be there and assumed that none of our workshops were worthwhile to attend. So make sure that you're being very descriptive about the content that you're about to offer, and use other content, to help push to additional pieces of content, essentially. So if you're going to create, a workshop or how-to webinar, oftentimes it's really helpful to use case studies that you already have and then see the audience that, went to that case study or was clicked on that case study and then send them to this workshop so it'll be really beneficial for them. Expectations. Expectations, pretty obvious. What are our customers used to? And then what can I do to really stand out from other programs? So first, it's great to gather feedback from individual contributors on your team. What are the things that they did that really delighted folks, and how then can you use that? And what really surprised their users or their customers? And then you try to do that at scale. Additionally, constantly look for inspiration from your peers. Chances are that you've gotten emails from other customer marketing managers or product marketing managers and look to see what they're doing that really stood out to you. Or look at what they put together and say, okay, what's the one thing that I can do to take their email and step it up a bit? And then use that for your audience as well. Target moments in the customer journey that traditionally suck. Or are just like not super delightful. This is a great opportunity for you to create space from your competitors. So they say, oh, hey, that's usually a really, bad part of this journey. And they made it really nice. Additionally, you can use boring times to your advantage. So everybody gets gifts around the holidays, around their birthday, right? And so you have really high expectations around the holidays of your birthday. But not everybody gets a great gift on just a random Tuesday. And so try to understand what are those really boring times in the customer journey that might be good for you to inject some delight. For example, we have a part of our product that, is a little bit of like data entry, and you put in, pieces of data. And what we've done is we created an in-app announcement with confetti that pops up to say, hey, congrats, you did it. So something that's kind of a little boring to do became kind of a delightful experience for them. So we were able to, inject a boring thing, with a little bit more delight. So I'm hopeful that you got a bunch of inspiration out of the things that I mentioned here. Test your projects using quality, specificity, ease, and expectations to make sure you're, making full use of each of those elements to, boost up your projects, your programs, and your campaigns. Additionally, here's a QR code to add me on LinkedIn. I would love to continue this conversation, to grab coffee with you, to learn more about what you're doing in order to create delightful experiences, or just for us to connect. Thank you so much for listening to me talk about creating delight. This has really been delightful, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the summit.